Best piece of advice to a man, best piece of advice to a woman.
One is that pleasure is how you should be measuring your time with someone else. Is it pleasurable? Pleasure is the measure. That's how we should be looking at any kind of erotic, intimate connection with someone. Was it pleasurable? We're not measuring it by orgasm. We're not measuring it by how long. We're not measuring it by anything else, just that it was pleasurable. The second piece of advice is always use lube. Lube makes everything better. For the love of God, use lube. I literally have some behind me. We have literal bowls in my office because I want you to use lube.
What's usually kind of the reason that people come to see you?
Yeah, so I have a caseload about, 40% are couples, and then the rest are individuals that are struggling with sexual pain, no desire, understanding relationship after kids, or with smaller children, or their kids are leaving and they're like, what the fuck do we do now? Because their lives have revolved around said children, and they're like, we didn't have time to have sex, and now what do? We don't even know. It's like starting fresh again. And then I have a few clients that are struggling with orgasmic issues, erectile dysfunction issues. So I see kind of a wide variety, but it tends to be a lot of women struggling with sexual health or couples.
Is this an easy thing for people to talk about? Are they ready and willing to go, or are they like, you gotta push and push and push and push?
I would say, if you're an individual coming in and you seek me out, which tends to happen in the middle of the night. So you can check the time of when your emails come in, right? And I often get emails reaching out for help after 11 p.m. If it's between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., I'm like, okay, shit went down, and they're freaking out, and they're on a Google search, or they're talking to people that they know and they get referred. So then they come in, and sometimes it's, the first session or two, super easy, because we're just getting to know each other. And I tell every single person, this is just a chill interview. Do you like me? And I need to kind of like you too. We have to have a vibe, or you're not going to want to spill your guts to me, right? So we have to check that out. Now, if it's a couple coming in, and generally with a couple, it's one person is driving the bus saying, we got to go do this. And then the other person in the couple is usually just sits there for a while. And it takes a much longer time for me to get that person to start to talk. So that happens frequently.
What's usually the reason people fail?
I have had several people decide to not continue their relationship in my office in the last decade. 2 of those times were due to infidelity. And then one significant was due to financial abuse. And the continued lies, and another lie came out, a financial abuse lie came out in session, and explosion happened, and that was the end.
Can you tell, are you ever surprised? Oh, they fixed this, or oh, they didn't make it. Are you ever surprised, or do you kind of know that ain't happening?
Right away, I generally am always I can kind of tell. I think I can tell, right? In the beginning, after let's say 5 sessions, where I got a vibe, I know a little bit more of the story, I can figure it out. I'm oh, they're going to do it. They're going to actually take steps. And then every once in a while, I'm surprised where they don't make it. And I hear from one of them later, this happens pretty often, where they'll be like, can I just come talk to you? You know our whole story. And I was like, listen, I can never see you as a couple again. And we kind of figure out that dynamic just because we don't want bias. And I've been surprised before where I've been like, oh, did I miss that he was a narcissist? And sometimes I do.
Do you ever see people that just like, they just do not have it? They do not have a sex drive.
Yes. And that's sometimes that's why they come to me, is because they're in a relationship and they have literally no desire. Like none, no curiosity. They don't self-pleasure. They don't have sex with their partner. There's nothing erotic about them at all. And so that's a deep dive. Like, then we really got to get into things of externally what's happening, physically what's happening. Has there been any trauma? All of that has to be explored.
Does it ever, though, get down to like, you just don't have it?
Yeah, I mean, it can. I've not experienced that. It can be a thing for sure. And as long as that person is okay, right, that they're secure in themselves and they're like, hey, this is just where I am.
This is who I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Then I will support that for sure.
What do you do for people with mismatched libidos?
So we call that desire discrepancy. Right.
Got a fancy term. So
we're
that is very
fancy.
common. That is very common, then, I take it.
Super common, right? Like usually, and in heteronormative relationships, it tends to be, not always, but tends to be the man has a higher drive and curiosity for sex than the woman. So we find a middle ground, right? Like, bro, you're not going to have sex 3 times a day. Not happening. But maybe you can have sex 2 times a week, right? So, because if she wants none and you want it 50 times, we got to find a middle ground, right? And then what's also preventing that partner from even thinking about it? So we all have inhibitions that stop that, and we have exciters that get us going. And so it's trying to figure out, if you think about your body as like a gas and a brake, we all have gas and brakes. How can we lift the brake for whoever doesn't have a lot of desire?
This is also one of the questions. Can you spot couples in the wild? Can you be like, oh, they're having problems with sex?
Maybe not sex, but I can be like, wow, they're a mess. Right. I can tell like how they speak to each other immediately.
How important are you actually? Or is it really just the process of people talking to each other?
Oh, I love that question. That's a good one.
And somebody, not to kind of take away from the profession, like somebody's got to facilitate this.
Yeah.
But how much of it is just having someone to facilitate the conversation where it's really just these two people need to talk to each other?
I think I'm less important after the education piece. So, and it can be education about sexual health. It can be education about how to communicate effectively in a meaningful way. And once we establish those tools and they really get it, then I'm less important. Then it's them just kind of talking through what's happening. And then I'll be like, wait a second. Like, I'm more of a referee, not because they're fighting. I'm just like, wait a second, pause. Let's try it again. And I can get them generally to hear each other, whereas at home, you're probably not going to have that experience.